Well, good evening, everyone. Once again, you're very welcome back to the Digital Motorsports Championship, and it is the Indy Pro 2000 Cup, a brand new championship to kick off July, and we are here at the Daytona International Speedway. So over the course of a couple of months, we've been in TCR cars, we've been in so many different forms, but now we move to the brand new Indy Pro 2000, which is the junior single-seater on the Road to Indy program over in the US. It is equivalent to Formula 3. It's a very fast piece of kit, and it's going to be brilliant around this set of US tracks. We are doing a US calendar starting in Daytona with an oval round on the 4th of July to celebrate, of course, Independence Day in the US. And so we'll be heading there on Saturday, but here we have the road course in Daytona to open out the round. This is the pro tier. There is, of course, another tier that is also in a separate server doing their own race at the moment. So there are 27 drivers here on the grid for this one. As always, Sam Fitzpatrick joining me in the box. And I tell you what, Sam, we remember how competitive it was earlier on in the season, but in a brand new car, brand new championship, I mean, this lineup of drivers is quite something.
It really is. It's fantastic to see so many great drivers coming back from the series and a few new guys as well. And of course, this is the best of the best. This is the pro division, whilst the amateurs are in that other server, as you say. Interesting start for this Daytona circuit. It's going to be a great race, but we're actually starting on a standing start. We're not going to have a rolling start, which is going to be very tricky on this banked circuit. So you can see the grid going through for you now, and very soon we'll be able to see the green flag.
Exactly, 29 drivers lining up for this. We'll have the first heat race, and then we will head to the feature race afterwards, which is a 15 lap with the top 15 reversed. Right now, Keith Dempsey is on the pole next to Oscar Mangan, the two champions next to each other. Keith Dempsey, of course, the TCR champion, Oscar Mangan, the Porsche Carrera champion as well. And as always, up to his usual tricks, he's the final driver to ready up. Wayne Douglas is back behind him. Then Oisin Walsh, remember him from the TCR, he won a race. Peter Dempsey is in 5th place. Brian McManus, Rob Moore, Jordan Kelly, Niall Murray, and James Holman are your top 10. Of course, Jason Cooper we see in there as well, fresh from TCR as well. And Craig Breen back once again. And it's interesting to see Craig in this one because, of course, he's more used to a WRC car. And this is the first time we're going to see him in a single-seater category. We had him in the TCR, but this is quite different, and we are, as I said, going to have a standing start on the banking. Now the guys have been practicing this, but it's extremely tricky, and I've never ever seen a standing start from the banking at Daytona. So remember, turn 1, extremely tricky left-hander. Here we go then to begin heat race number 1. The top 15 will get reversed for the feature. Here we go for the Indy Pro 2000 Cup. And away we go. Keith Dempsey has to get the steering pointed towards the right-hand side. Good start from Oscar Mangan as the cars start to fall down the order. But Oscar Mangan trying to make the jump on Keith Dempsey down towards turn number 1. Then as they head through, Mangan on the outside. Dempsey holds on. Peter Dempsey slots into 3rd place, up 2 places already. Starting on the outside of the banking seems to have worked out for those guys. But Keith Dempsey leads. Oscar Mangan in 2nd. And Peter Dempsey is in 3rd place. The two turn 3 cars coming through turn number 3 actually as they come around the corner, getting sideways on the exit. Wayne Douglas follows. Oisin Walsh, McManus, Murray, Kelly, Marchenkovas and Holman all clean through. New damage model on these cars as well, as we watch Marchenkovas going, trying to get past Jordan Kelly here as they come down towards this next piece of the circuit into the hairpin, trying not to make contact with the car in front of him was Jordan Kelly, trying to avoid Niall Murray. But yeah, Keith Dempsey in the lead, Oscar Mangan in 2nd and Peter Dempsey in 3rd place. All clean from these guys.
Couple of places lost for Robert Moore, in fact 7 of them. So first off him, he got a spin around, and that is Marchenkovas, race winner from last season, and the driver spreading either way, and they've done a good job there. Of course, in this early stage, you just want to stay within the section, you want to stay within half a second of the driver ahead, and you should just be able to draft along. We're expecting a couple of close finishes tonight, because the draft effect in this car is going to be absolutely huge. That was the mistake for Marchenkovas, very bumpy coming out of that corner going onto the oval. Hence why he managed to break traction and had to wait a while to get back going. But out in the lead, Oscar Mangan still leading. Wayne Douglas actually 9/10 to a second behind. I'm not quite sure what the draft is like in this car, but dare I say that might even be the draft broken, which would mean real bad news for the P3 driver as we go 3 wide just behind.
They're about to go 4 wide as they head down towards the start finish. Keith Dempsey takes lead. The slipstream is extremely strong in these cars around Daytona. The practice race that these guys did earlier on in the day, there was a 0.000 across the finish lines. They got 3 wide into turn 1. Peter Dempsey with Oisin Walsh in the middle. Niall Murray having to fend off Brian McManus. McManus has been looking really quick in these cars in the practice sessions as well. McManus slots in front, and now he fights with Oisin Walsh as they head into turn number 2. Then coming through the hairpin, has to leave the door open there for Niall Murray, has to watch out from Walsh slots in front of Oisin Walsh, of course, a race winner in the TCR. So back in these single seaters, there are plenty of guys from the 2 championships merging into this brand new Digital Motorsports Championship, of course, supported by Next Level Racing and, of course, driver 61, Scott Mansell, who is kindly supporting the series as well. But out front, it's Keith Dempsey and Oscar Mangan, and we were talking about this last season. This is the battle we wanted to see. It's both champions from the Porsche Cup and from the TCR now in one piece of track, and this is going to be a really interesting season between these 2 guys. But the slipstream around here is extremely strong, so you will see positions swapping each and every lap. As here comes Mangan on the outside line, he will pass him easily now on the outside line, head down towards the bus stop chicane, if he can slot in front. That is on the outside line. Here he comes, Mangan on the outside, then the 99. Keith Dempsey just holds on, and Niall Murray has to settle behind as well in the background. I tell you what, Wayne Douglas has dragged himself into this, hasn't he, Sam?
That was incredible. He just gained half a second through one corner. That's the risk of starting to battle. Not quite sure why Dempsey and Mangan are battling so much. There's really no advantage to being ahead. As you say, the slipstream effect's so strong, and they've very much invited Wayne Douglas back into this one, a driver who I've seen quite a bit in the Aerial GT Championship, and he is a pretty strong driver, is Douglas, as he's now going to try to go for the lead. However, glitching in and out a little bit, and that's not what you want to see when you are making a slipstream battle. Just getting cut off a little bit there was Keith Dempsey. Wasn't any space, and now it's Douglas who does take the lead past Mangan. However, these guys really do need to stop fighting, otherwise 4 or 5 other cars are going to get involved, and Murray is off the circuit, and Meredith as well. And you can see that lead damage model coming to fruition. Bit of contact first, and then, well, 4 wide isn't wise.
Not exactly. So Owen Murray ends up in the grass near the pit lane, and actually has an easy entry to the pit lane. Then he gets to come straight across and enters his pit box that way. So Owen Murray ends up there, and he's now rejoining the circuit. But now Wayne Douglas is the leader, and now, so this is essentially the place you don't want to be on the final lap. You don't want to be in the lead, because it's almost a certainty that the guys are going to get past you. So Oscar Mangan now in the draft, Keith Dempsey also in the draft, Wayne Douglas has absolutely none. So here is the speeds they're reaching now in these junior single-seater cars. They're slightly faster than the Formula 3, but look at the slipstream effect. Have a look at this. Keith Dempsey with a huge overspeed. Going to make it 3 abreast on the inside line. Makes it look easy, and he will take the lead once again. Wayne Douglas on the outside line. There is a perfect demonstration of the slipstream effect. And we were talking, we didn't know how strong it was. It's incredibly strong. And of course, these cars are built for the ovals. They're built for the road courses. So you can expect this. Wayne Douglas now on the outside of Keith Dempsey as they come around the final corner. Expect to see this on the final lap, the way these guys are going. It's been incredible so far, swapping places. Now going to try and make it 3 abreast once again with Oscar Mangan on the outside line. Great shots here as they go 3 abreast coming to the line, and Keith Dempsey slots ahead. Wayne Douglas, Oscar Mangan trying to come around the outside lines ahead towards turn 1. Not the ideal place. They're still 3 abreast. Douglas is late on the brakes on the outside, goes a little bit wide and opens the door for Oscar Mangan to go through, but Keith Dempsey holds on for now. But all this is dragging Niall Murray, Oisin Walsh, Brian McManus into this one, and this is turning into a 5-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, it certainly does seem to be the case. I think Murray, Walsh and McManus, to be fair to them, have actually kind of been working together. They haven't quite been swapping positions quite as much, trying to catch up to the guys ahead. So it should be pretty fun, and I wouldn't rule out the likes of Dempsey, or Peter Dempsey, and James Holman getting involved as well. Pretty slow for Craig Green there, just coming out of the hairpin and or the horseshoe, and that has put him in this already 5-car battle, now going to be 6 cars. And this is all just about sparring at the moment. You're just learning about your opponent. You're learning how strong the slipstream effect is. Because you don't want to be right on the back bumper coming out of the final chicane on the final lap. You want to be leaving about 0.3 of a second, so you've got time to build up momentum. And then when you get past, you can absolutely fly on by. So it's really important for these drivers to learn what the slipstream is like in these early stages, so that they're in the best position in the final couple of laps.
Here we go. We look at Lawrence de Sosma and Peter McCann. This is an interesting battle. Lawrence de Sosma, often referred to as the Irish Jimmy Broadbent. So here he is fighting away with Peter McCann, and he's going to make it maybe 4 wide as Craig Breen slots in front. Cian Carey gets in front of him. Side by side now, McCann on the outside line, and he gets through in the bus stop. De Sosma tries to get the cut back underneath him, but they have to secede positions, and Shane Rabbit goes through as well. Of course, the Rabbit's back in here as well. Keith Rabbit's down in 21st. Shane up here in 15th place. And up front again, you can see the swaps going on. Oisin Walsh now right in the middle of that, and Niall Murray has taken 3rd place. So there's been plenty of swapping on. Oscar Mangan slots into behind Keith Dempsey as they still fight their way. But Niall Murray, Oisin Walsh, McManus, and Douglas actually was the big loser. We're trying to figure out who it was, but down to 6th place. Side by side now between Dempsey and Mangan, and Niall Murray going to get himself involved now as they go side by side through the hairpin. Side by side, still on the exit, but Mangan is just a nose in front as they come down the back of the circuit now, still neck and neck as they head down towards this tricky little section. Quick left and into a double right-hander. Oscar Mangan hanging around the outside, have the inside line for the right-hander, and Niall Murray just watching for some space. Has he found it? Yes, he has. Trying to slot up the inside of both of them here in the toe. Niall Murray on the outside line gets a nose in front of Keith Dempsey, and he is ahead. So through he goes. Oisin Walsh now slots onto the back. McManus is into 5th now as a result, but Mangan is in the lead now. Niall Murray is 2nd. Keith Dempsey is 3rd. Oisin Walsh is 4th. McManus is 5th, and Douglas down to 6th. We're running halfway through this race, and there's so much action through it, I can't even keep track of how many overtakes have happened on track.
At least 5 changes for the lead so far in the session. I think we're about to see a 6th as Murray goes to the inside of Mangan. Oh, look at that for Dempsey as well. He's going to go through as well, leaving loads of space on the inside. That's smart there from Mangan. And they are fighting extremely hard for these leading positions, even though in the long run they probably won't count too much for it. Only about halfway through this race. Interesting how Douglas lost a lot of time. He dropped down to 5th place, as you were saying before, and McManus as well in 6th. Dempsey now 1.2 seconds behind these guys, and actually lapping a little bit slow on that last lap. The top 4, if they start working together, might be able to break away from the others, as we see these drivers right in the rev limiter. They've got absolutely nothing left. By the time they get to the start-finish line, these cars just don't have long enough gearing, and they remain with Murray in the lead. Dempsey, Mangan, can Walsh make a move? Have to stay in 4th, seemingly.
Yeah, for now. So Niall Murray takes the lead. Keith Dempsey slots to 2nd. Oscar Mangan is 3rd. Oisin Walsh is 4th. Wayne Douglas trying to drag himself back up towards this battle, and they may do that as they come down the back of the circuit once again. There's been a lead change on every single lap so far. That's the beauty of having a road course with the ovals added into it. So Wayne Douglas, as you can see from the time delta, is right on the back of Oisin Walsh as at the moment. McManus is a 2nd back, and Oisin Walsh, look how close he gets to Mangan as they come through there. But you can see the exit difference. Oscar Mangan almost gets up underneath Keith Dempsey, and he has found the line as they come through the oval and onto the back of the oval now. Mangan on the inside of Dempsey will watch with Oisin Walsh with the toe. Will get almost a double speed. He may get the double overtake here as they come to the outside. He's going to have to peel to the outside line. Oscar Mangan gets left out to dry on the inside. Keith Dempsey goes for the lead on Niall Murray at the same time. Outbreaks him massively into the bus stop chicane, and Keith Dempsey retakes the lead. Niall Murray 2nd, and Oisin Walsh gets into 3rd place. You could see there how much Oscar Mangan was hung out to dry. But here we go to the line. Imagine this on the last lap. Niall Murray trying to go back on the outside. Oisin Walsh making it 3 abreast again. And now Oscar Mangan, does he have space to work with? He has absolutely none as they come through to the last corner. Where is Mangan going to go? He's got nowhere to go. He's trying to find some space to go through. But you have Murray in the middle, Dempsey on the inside, Mangan right on his tail, Oisin Walsh on the outside line, out of shot. And Wayne Douglas also in there, almost 4 abreast as come through. Oisin Walsh with the guys behind fighting away, and as they come through, Keith Dempsey comes out on top, still side by side with Mangan as they come through turn 1. Douglas is in there, and at the same time Peter Dempsey and Brian McManus are also catching. This is going to be a mega finish.
Douglas has done really well to get himself in play. Dempsey passed McManus then up into 6th place. But yeah, this could be a 7-car battle for the win. Interesting there on board with Mangan. You could see, as you were saying, Jack, how there's pretty much no space when you've got 3 cars ahead of you. There's nowhere to go unless you're willing to go onto the apron. And I imagine the driver on the inside would cover that off in that situation. So you probably want to be 3rd in line, I imagine. sitting about 4/10 of a second behind, I think, coming out of the bus. So that seems to be kind of the perfect range at the moment. Second in line might not actually be the place to go because this track is so wide. The driver in third can get a very good run as they're bound to all bunch up once again. Let's see if Murray goes for the move on Dempsey this time into the bus stop or whether he'll just happily stay behind. It looks like he's going to go for it. He just snips down the inside and yeah, there he does. He needs to be careful so he doesn't cut that corner too much because that was all 4 wheels off the track. But I don't think iRacing will give him a slowdown for that. So Murray back into the lead. And yeah, this is a proper 7-car battle. Now I think Dempsey maybe just a little bit adrift, about 8/10 behind his rival of Walsh at the moment. So just trying to close in that. By the way, Peter Dempsey passed up the race that last time round as Dempsey just about holding on to the lead. Can Mangan go through? We got Walsh up top as well, with Douglas getting a big slipstream on all of them. 3 to go at Daytona, and it is Murray who holds on to that lead then. That was very impressive from him, and he stays ahead of Dempsey and now Mangan in third.
I can imagine the sweat dripping off these guys. They've been fighting for the past 8 laps with no let-up. Oscar Mangan up the inside of Wayne Douglas. You can see how sideways they're getting. Brian McManus with a massive drift through there on the exit. They're trying to get the power down as quickly as they can. Now Wayne Douglas gets past Oscar Mangan for 3rd place. Can he keep in front of Oscar as they come through? Oscar holds the inside line. Niall Murray still has a small lead. Keith Dempsey just biding his time there, I think, because he will still have the toe when they come to the oval once again. 2 laps to go next time by. Wayne Douglas gets in front. Oisin Walsh now going to get himself involved. And now Peter Dempsey's on the back of this one. Is on the other Turn 3 car. He's the team principal of the Turn 3 Motorsport team who run in Indy Pro 2000 as well. So they have a real life team, but now they're in here in the Digital Motorsports Indy Pro 2000 Cup. Great to have them as well. And Peter Dempsey, of course, famed for having one of the closest finishes in this class, in the Indy Lights class. And it was about 0.003 of a second as they came across the line. But now Keith Dempsey back to the lead again, gets in front of Niall Murray. Wayne Douglas 3rd, Mangan is 4th, Walsh is 5th, Peter Dempsey, now on the back. And Brian McManus a little ways off the back for now because he's not on the toe. But Peter Dempsey and Oscar Mangan going slowly. I don't know what's happened to Oscar Mangan, but I think it's a slowdown from the bus stop chicane, and he's fallen off now. And he was talking about floor damage. That could be a thing here, but they're now 3 abreast again with Wayne Douglas going for the lead on the outside line with the overspeed Niall Murray in the middle, and he shuts off Keith Dempsey immediately. Oisin Walsh trying to get the double toe as well, trying to find space. Wayne Douglas late on the brakes on the outside line, squirming through turn number 1, side by side with Niall Murray. Murray gives him the squeeze to the inside, and he just about keeps it in front for now. But Douglas is still there on that inside line coming into the hairpin. Fantastic racing between these two. Douglas should have it on the exit so he can get the power down the fastest. Murray still keeps their nose in there on the exit as they come through here. Great stuff from these guys, still side by side for the first couple of corners. And now Douglas will have the inside for the double right-hander here. Can he get it stopped and keep in front of Niall Murray? He's trying to give him the squeeze on the exit, still has a slight nose in, but eventually Douglas gets it done. But now he's going to be vulnerable with the toe. But now he's got 3 Turn 3 motorsport cars hunting him down in the form of Niall Murray, Keith Dempsey and Peter Dempsey. The brothers are together 4th and 5th, and Oisin Walsh left out to dry on the outside line. The white flag is going to wave, and I couldn't tell you who's going to win this first heat.
Yeah, it's absolutely ever so close. I'm looking at Mangan at the moment, now 9/10 of a second behind, so he should be on them with 1 lap to go. Mangan could definitely still win this race, but he's going to have to absolutely slice his way through all of them. He's going to lead into the bus stop. It's going to be Murray then. I'm trying to think if the Turn 3 guys can perhaps get themselves into the 1, 2, 3 positions. We know if you can get into the top 3, then you should be able to lock it out and block the entire circuit. But they just can't get all 3 of them up to the front at the moment, so it doesn't look like that's going to be a strategic option for them. That's just going to the outside. There is Walsh trying to get ahead. However, he doesn't have the jumpers for the lead. Douglas coming back once again. He's going to lead onto this final lap. Now Murray on the inside. Can he hold on to it into turn 1? Good run on the outside for Douglas, but it just falls way off camber on the outside line there, and he has to back off. However, back into turn 3 into the horseshoe, and maybe he has got the inside line, so it will be Douglas back ahead, at least momentarily. Big slide there from Murray, but he managed to hold on to it, and now he's trying to battle with his own teammate Peter Dempsey just for that P2 and P3. Don't take each other out, boys, because that would be very contrary to the team right there, and actually getting ahead there's Peter Dempsey. So looked like Murray had positioned himself really good in that second place, but he just drops down into fourth. And now, really, the man in the box seat is probably Keith Dempsey. That third and line, that's the place that you want to be.
Hold on to your hats here. It's coming onto the oval now. Peter Dempsey in second, Keith Dempsey third, Niall Murray fourth, Mangan into fifth, and Oisin Walsh in sixth. Wayne Douglas leads for the moment, but now he's got to fend off a huge attack from the two turn three cars behind him. You can see they're working together. Dempsey to the outside, and Keith Dempsey follows him now as they head through the bus stop chicane for the final time. Douglas covers him off on the outside very nicely. So Niall Murray takes the inside. Can he go a double overtake on the two turn three cars? They can't afford to fight. Now it's the run for the line, and on the outside Dempsey loses it a little bit. Wayne Douglas has got a small gap now as they come towards the line. I think Douglas has done enough now as they fought too hard behind. Wayne Douglas coming through the last corner on the oval, but the fight for second place. Look at the bunch of cars here as they come down towards the finish line. Niall Murray is second, and Keith Dempsey and Peter Dempsey fighting for the podium slots here. Wayne Douglas has done enough. They fought too hard behind. He crossed the line to win. Oh, massive crash across the line. Niall Murray slides across. Peter Dempsey gets second, Keith Dempsey third, Mangan fourth, Walsh in fifth. Then it's Niall Murray, McManus, Arias Yamantas, Rob Moore, and James Holman in 10th place as Marchenkovas and De Soswa to the line, very close between these two. I think De Soswa might just get it by 0.02 across the line. He gets it. But they fought too hard into the bus stop chicane, and it gave Wayne Douglas the gap that he needed. But a very intense fight the whole way through. And believe it or not, that was just the first heat.
Yeah, the second heat is meant to be even better. Meredith is going to lose out seemingly to Devaney right at the finish, 18th and 19th. There's going to be a reverse grid pole then for Jordan Kelly, who set the fastest after the race on the final lap, I believe. So very much well-deserved there for Kelly. He's going to be very strong. But someone went mega deep into the bus stop. I mean, so deep. I think from third or fourth place, very much, you know, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it now. And it really just put them all offline going through the bus stop, and it gave an easy win for Wayne Douglas. And maybe first place was the place to be because that was so possible, and that was Murray spinning across. I thought he might be able to take a shortcut there and get second place, but he did end up at the back of that pack and ended up in sixth. Believe it or not, Murray started in 9th place. Even though he spent pretty much all the race at the front. But no, well done to Wayne Douglas on that first race win of the season, and as far as I'm aware, his first race win in the series, but I stand to be corrected.
I think you are correct as well. Wayne Douglas, of course, is the team principal of Douglas Motorsport, who run in BRDC British F3, so he's no stranger to real life racing as well. So he's the team principal of Douglas Motorsport and the team principal of Turn 3 Motorsport, mixing it up in the sim racing world, which is fantastic to see. And yeah, Niall Murray definitely got a helping hand from Keith Dempsey there on in the tow. Now, the drivers were told that they're not allowed to use the apron at all. They will be penalised, but no such problems there. So Wayne Douglas takes it by 0.6 of a second. Peter Dempsey gets ahead of his brother by the smallest of margins, 500ths across the line. Keith Dempsey third, Oscar Mangan in fourth, and Oisin Walsh in fifth. 7/10 between the top five as they cross the line. Niall Murray 1.3. He managed to cross the line in sixth on the grass. Brian McManus, Arias Simantes, Rob Moore, and James Holman. Outside the top 10, Cian Carey, Lawrence De Soswa, then it's Valentinas Marchenkovas, Richard Faulkner, Jordan Kelly will have the reverse grid pole. Peter McCann, Dave Maguire, Michael Devaney, Nicky Meredith, Keith Rabbit and Shane Rabbit, then Barry Rabbit, of course, the three Rabbit brothers, Tony Stack, Craig Breen, Owen Murray, Rob Barable, Dara Daly, and Jason Cooper, unfortunately, a non-finisher in this one. And Richard Lyons did not make the start by the looks of things. But yeah, Jason Cooper, we know how quick he is. We saw how quick he was in TCR's won the race in Ulton Park. And the last corner versus Craig Breen and Keith Dempsey as well. They had a great one. So a very quick warm-up between this, and then we head to the 15-lap feature race with the top 15 inverted. So you're going to have the guys who were fighting the whole way through. The top six will now be right in the middle of the pack, and they're going to have to fight their way through with the other guys up the top. This could be craziness as far as I can see.
Yeah, but like I said before, I was really surprised when I saw the 6th place driver from Heat 1, it was Niall Murray, started up in 9th place, and yet he got to the lead almost immediately. So potentially they could be able to make their way up to the front very quick. We could have a 15-car battle, to be fair. for the race win. I mean, it's really very difficult to tell. And it was surprising, actually, considering the close quarters racing that we had in that first race, how little incidents there were. I reckon in this second race, there's going to be a couple more, as you say, trying to make your way up to the front. So, no, that could be very good. By the way, a few people just complimenting the graphics on the screen. And, of course, they are produced by SDK Gaming. And you can get yourself an SDK license, and you can have these exact graphics and customize them however you like. So certainly do check out their website at sdk.com. Right there, so we've got the drivers starting to grid up.
Here we go for the digitalmotorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup, supported kindly by Next Level Racing. And of course, driver 61 as well. Jordan Kelly on the pole, Richard Faulkner second, Valentinas Marchenkovas and Lawrence de Soswa, then Cian Carey, James Holman, Rob Moore, Arias Diamantis, and now the guys who are fighting up the front: Brian McManus, Niall Murray, Oisin Walsh, then Oscar Mangan. Then it'll be Keith Dempsey, Peter Dempsey, and Wayne Douglas, the winner from race number 1. Peter McCann, Dave McGuire, Michael Devaney, Nicky Meredith, Keith Rabbit, Shane Rabbit, and Barry Rabbit, the three brothers starting on the same row of the grid nearly. Nicky Meredith, Keith, and then further down we'll have Craig Breen further down. But here we go for the feature race. Jordan Kelly on the pole. And away we go now on the banking with the standing start, a very unusual way, but Jordan Kelly gets away well. Richard Faulkner on the outside, and Marchenkovas with a good run on the inside as they head towards turn 1. Looks like Faulkner might get the run on Kelly, and in the background there's a spinner. Somebody gets turned around. I think it was Cian Carey. James Holman turned around in turn 1. They managed to get through. The rest of the field managed to slot their way ahead, but Jordan Kelly leads. Marchenkovas in second. Lawrence de Soswa getting his nose in there in fourth place. They come through. Going to be contact. Oisin Walsh and gets spun around. Massive one involving multiple there. That was Oisin Walsh, and one of the, I think that was Niall Murray, possibly Niall Murray who was involved. Yes, it was Niall Murray from the beginning. Tried to go 3 abreast, got a little touch in the rear, and Oisin Walsh went into Niall Murray. There's shame for the guys who were fighting up the front. But I tell you what, from the further down the grid, Keith Dempsey and Peter Dempsey 7th and 8th, Oscar Mangan in 9th place, and Wayne Douglas is 11th. They've made great progress immediately off the grid, and now they've got to get past all these guys: Ari Simantas, Rob Moore, Lawrence de Soswa, Richard Faulkner, Marchenkovas, and Jordan Kelly. So interesting start, and a pity for Oisin Walsh and Niall Murray. I think they were innocent in that one.
Yeah, it's a lot sweet in that situation. It's such a narrow part of the circuit. Kelly and Marchenkovas going alongside at the moment. They need to be smart about this one. They need to preserve this lead as much as possible whilst the others are trying to make their way up. But we've got so many competitive drivers near the front. I mean, Marchenkovas and Kelly, 2 drivers who could very potentially win race 1s on outright pace. They don't even need the reverse grid. And so it's going to be very tricky for the others to catch up to them. We've got a couple of others off. Meredith and Holman as well. I was thinking Holman was going to have a good chance. I think he's starting in 6th place. Very strong driver is James Holman, and he's gone off into the green as well. We've also got Wayne Douglas there with another incident, and well, he'll try to get back to the pits. We'll get a faster pair, but that's his competitive race 2 over after winning race 1.
That's such a shame. Oh, wow, look at this. 3 abreast through turn 1. Rob Moore, Arias Diamantis, multiple cars trying to get through there as they file through. Keith Dempsey now behind, his brother behind him. So you can see the 2 brothers working together now. Well, I say that. Up the inside goes Peter Dempsey. Keith Dempsey leaves the door open for him, fighting away as they come through the hairpin for the second time. 15-lap race, long way to go in this one. We look at Arias Diamantis now in the background. There is Keith, Peter ahead of Keith right now. Oscar Mangan is now ahead of de Soswa as well. So these 3 are now together on the road. And a little helping hand from Keith Dempsey on his brother coming through right there in the background. And you can see now just ahead, Arias Diamantis challenging Rob Moore as well. Arias, of course, got his first podium in the Porsche Cup not too long ago, and he's within shouting distance of that. Marchenkovas, of course, was a race winner in Donington in the Porsche Cup as well. And we can see now multiple race winners behind him. Peter Dempsey, Keith Dempsey, Oscar Mangan, 2 champions actually. And we say that, I think Oscar Mangan trying to get up underneath Keith Dempsey in the background as well. You can see Diamantis is trying to get past Rob Moore ahead as well. So these 3 cars are trying to fight their way through. Rob Moore keeps ahead for now, and I think nobody's going to try anything too untoward as de Soswa goes a bit wide into the bus stop right there and drops to 9th place. And you can see now that looks like Craig Breen is out of this race. It's been a terrible day for Craig. and is now back in the pit lane after an accident. But Jordan Kelly still leads. Marchenkovic in second. Richard Faulkner is third. And these three have got a good gap to the cars behind. If they can work together for the next couple of laps and not really battle, Marchenkovic certainly isn't listening to me as it comes to the outside line of turn number 1. He goes late on the brakes around the outside. Jordan Kelly trying to fend him off, and he goes wide as a result. And up the inside goes Richard Faulkner, and through they go. But what I was saying is these guys have a decent gap over the cars behind. If they can avoid battling, they may be able to hold on to that, because we know how fast the Dempseys are.
Yeah, it's not like the drivers who ever listens to us, it must be said. And you're absolutely right, they are still battling. These guys, I think they're probably going to be caught whatever. Although if Yamantis and Moore perhaps could hold up the Dempsey brothers for a little while, you can see how Peter's perhaps getting a little bit frustrated now. He hasn't been making a whole lot of progress for this past lap or so. Also, just behind them, Oscar Mangan is extremely quick, so those two are probably the favourites for this race. But Yamantis and Moore, whilst they keep each other in their own draft, then it's making it difficult for the turn 3 guys to make up any places. By the way, Rob Barrable up 15 places a bit further down. Also, Tony Slack up 11 places. Barry Rabbit up 12 places. So some big changes and plenty of spins so far for drivers.
Yeah, good to see Rob Barble out on track, chasing after Barry Rabbit now. 3 abreast. Here's Peter Dempsey trying to get up the middle of these. Contact! Keith Dempsey gets hit by Oscar Mangan in the bus stop chicane. And what a shame for those guys. I think he went a little bit too late on the brakes. I don't think there's too much damage on Keith Dempsey's car. He got a touch in the rear from Oscar Mangan. There's a bit flying off the top. You can see that. There's suspension damage for sure. Rear suspension damage for Keith Dempsey. Oh no, gets hit by Oscar Mangan. The champions collide in round number 1. Mangan, I think, went a little bit too late on the brakes and just touched Dempsey a slight little bit. And you can see now Peter Dempsey has slotted ahead of Rob Moore and Arias Imantas. But that we don't get the battle that we wanted between Keith and Oscar. Well, the battle that we did want, it ended in contact, and a big one for Keith Dempsey. He's going to be out of contention.
First blood to Oscar Mangan then in that respect. And he's up into... well, I think he may have been in 7th place before. I didn't quite see what happened, but I think you're about right. How he gave him a little bit of a tap. I wonder if there's going to be some area damage now from Mangan as well. And he might just have a little bit of a dull race, just battling with these guys rather than battling for the front necessarily. But now that Peter Dempsey's up into 4th place, I was just wondering if Moore and Yamantis are going to be able to go with him up to the front 4. I think with the time we've got remaining, this is a much longer race than we saw in race 1. You can already see it for yourself. Dempsey is closing the gap to Faulkner. The gap's down to 1.3 seconds. He was a couple of tenths of a second faster on that last lap. Also, Jordan Kelly's now got a 1 second lead. He's been able to break the draft to Marchenkovic, which is a mighty effort. Gap is actually coming down a little bit. So if Marchenkovic can have a good chicane and get the gap back down to under a second, he might be much closer by turn 1. And it's a pretty good chicane for him. By the way, you can check out the SDK live timing in the link below, and that will let you know the gaps between all the drivers, which is really useful in this situation. See how much draft one another have, as Dempsey is going to be under pressure this time from Moore, who should have the overspeed, and so too should Yamantis and Mangan, who doesn't seem to be losing any time with that damage.
No, the tow looks to be helping and keep up with these guys. Mangan with a massive overspeed. He moves to the outside line, getting up behind Arias Imantas, who's trying to come around the outside of it. Yeah, there you go. Fast lap of the race from Oscar Mangan, who's trying to go around the outside of Rob Moore. He finds some space, but not able to get ahead. So Mangan really needs to get past these two as quickly as possible. He needs to get on the tail of Peter Dempsey, if not in front of him, as they need to chase down Jordan Kelly. He's got a decent lead now, so the guys need to get a move on. It's very hard to break the tow around here. Jordan Kelly's managed that already as Marchenkovic and Faulkner battle away. We're on board with Oscar Mangan right now as we head down the back of the circuit. Is he going to try anything on the brakes? Wow, big dive to the inside from Oscar Mangan, taking no prisoners. And has he got it done? Yes, he has. Great move from Oscar Mangan, and he had to get that done. He was listening to us for once. He knew he had to get past, and now he's got to get past Arias Imantas, which shouldn't be too difficult in the tow. But there you got to remember that Arias Imantas also has the tow from Peter Dempsey in front. But you can see Peter is just breaking the tow slightly as we watch Oscar Mangan now. He'll get the slipstream off of Imantas ahead of him, and he should be able to slot in front here to head to the bus stop chicane. Look at the overspeed that he gets in the slipstream. Imantas will give him a right squeeze to the wall. Gives him all the squeeze that he needs to do. Somehow manage to make contact, and he will hold on. He backs off on the brakes, I think wisely, does Oscar Mangan right there. That was very close for comfort, and Juventus, he's making his intentions clear. Mate, you are not getting past without a fight.
Juventus was gaining massively on Dempsey. I wonder if Dempsey's got some damage because that gap is going down significantly. I realise he maybe has a little bit off the slipstream, but that's a bit more than I thought it was because that was 9 tenths of a second. You can see the gap's back down to half a second now. So I wonder if there's a little bit of damage for Peter maybe on that front wing as he's not catching up to Faulkner quite as much as he was before either. So it's back to a 4-car battle and Mangan still can't get past Juventus. There he goes though this time. Moore has a good view of it, and that was in the end okay for Mangan. Also getting actually a lot of time to be fair. Dempsey, I think Dempsey might have some damage, not quite sure because he was very slow down the straight, but does gain a lot into turn 1. Gap now for Kelly is up to 2 seconds. On that last lap he extended by 6 tenths of a second, so I think probably Dempsey and Mangan are the only guys who have the capabilities of closing up that gap, which means that they have to pass Valentinus and Richard ASAP.
Yep, so of course the guys were mentioning that the front wing is not necessarily as important for the speed. Actually on these cars it's the floor, and you can damage it a lot if you get the bus stop chicane wrong. You will damage the floor, and that'll lose you half a second, if not a second, down the straight. And that may be what's happened to Peter Dempsey. But now he's got the help. He seems to have picked it up a little bit now. He's on the tail of Richard Faulkner, who's not had a good exit, really, out of that little left-hander. Marchenkovas has broken away from him a little bit. The gap between these guys is about 2.7. Jordan Kelly's driving away. Now here comes Peter Dempsey on the inside of Faulkner, late on the brakes, very late on the brakes, and gets through. And he's now up to 3rd place. So now he goes on the chase of Marchenkovas. Can he get him on the same lap? Mangan needs to follow as quickly as possible. You can see him there just behind Richard Faulkner. Arias Mantis trying to keep with them at the same time. Across the line for lap 7 of 15, about the halfway mark of this race. And you can see Jordan Kelly with a decent lead now as they come across the line. But now Mangan starting to challenge actually that's Faulkner trying to challenge at the same time. Peter Dempsey is now going to try and challenge Marchenkovas on the outside line. He's going to go late on the brakes and try and hang around the outside. You can see the car wanting to get away from him. He somehow finds some grip on the outside, sliding his way through turn number 1, but has to hang behind for now. He's going to have to try something on the brakes to get past Valentinus here, and you can see in the background that's Mangan on Faulkner, and he makes his intentions very clear and he goes through. That's exactly what he needs to do. And these guys now have got half the race. They've got to get past Marchenkovas and then try and close the gap to Jordan Kelly. He's got a decent one now. He's been doing a good job out front.
Yeah, 3 seconds now. Kelly's probably the favourite now at this point because that's a massive gap for the others to close in. And Marchenkovas is still holding up Dempsey a little bit. I wonder if Mangan's going to get a double slipstream on the pair of them going down into the bus stop. Might be able to slipstream straight past the pair of them because he's a good distance back at the moment, and we'll get a lot of overspeed as we head through NASCAR turn 3 and turn 1 and 2. And it should be easy enough for Dempsey. Here comes Mangan though with the overspeed. Might get into a little bit too early though. And he managed to dispatch at least one of them. He goes down the inside into the bus stop. And in the end, they can't just force each other offline. Marchenkovas gets a horrible run, and the gap's up to 7 tenths of a second again to Peter Dempsey. He's now up 12 places from his start. And so once he finishes on the podium, he should be the points highest scorer coming out of this round as well, should Dempsey. So it's looking very good for him. This battle going back to Robert Moore in 7th place, and this is really the tightest battling we've got all over the circuit. Just like in race 1, the main of the battling is all heading at these right at the front of this field, which is fantastic to see.
As they now, Oscar Mangan late on the brakes around the outside of Marchenkovas. He's getting sideways on the exit. Mangan, has he got ahead this time? He's still ahead. Yes, he is. Managed to slot in front of Valentinus, and now Arias Jumantas is going to try and follow it through up the inside of his Lithuanian counterpart. And can he get in front? I think he has just a little bit there. Marchenkovas will have the outside run though. We've got to watch out for Richard Faulkner, who's in the background as well. He's still got his front wing alongside as they come through the back of the circuit into the hairpin section, almost neck and neck, and now contact and into the barriers, just about keeps it out. There was tire on tire contact there. Marchenkovas ends up in the grass, gets back on, but yeah, the front right's broken. Yeah, the front right is broken, and that's big suspension damage from a tiny little contact. So unfortunate for Marchenkovas. And that's going to be him out of contention, and that's how brutal the damage model is right there. And I think Jumantas has carried on, but Marchenkovas was doing so well. has now been victim of tire-on-tire contact. Diamantis has kept going, but Marchenko was brutally removed from the race.
Something satisfying about the wheel folding under the car, I must say, though. But no, that was very unlucky, and on the old time, or the old damage model, that wouldn't have cost him too much. But instead, it was quite bad for him. That is McCann. You will not be getting any Christmas cards from Dempsey because he's held him up massively on the exit of the bus stop. And here comes Mangan. These guys battling for the race 1 victory, of course. Might just be for second place on this occasion, although Mangan with the fastest second sector earlier on in this lap. Here he goes. I think if anything for Dempsey, probably wise to let Mangan pass. I think Mangan is marginally faster, and he's going to have the better chance at catching and bringing them up to John and Kelly. But once again, he's not listening to me. And he stays ahead for now, Dempsey. The gap now 2.8 to the lead. Here comes Mangan again into the horseshoe. And it doesn't happen again for them. Good news, well, I say good news, Diamantis is back into the draft of them now as well. So that little bit of battling for a couple of corners brings Diamantis back into play.
Because briefly, Peter Dempsey brought the gap down to about 2.3, but just that small little battling has brought the gap back up to 3. So it's seesawing. But Jordan Kelly, all he needs to do is hold his position. And certainly, Peter McCann in Peter Dempsey's mind won't be getting any Christmas cards because McCann and Kelly, of course, are teammates. So he'll want to just impede him just as much as possible without getting a penalty. And I don't think he will get a penalty for that, but he just wants to help Jordan Kelly as much as possible. Jordan has not won in this series, and it's been a long time coming. So we'll see if he can hold on to that lead. He's onto the outside line now. Oscar Mangan versus Peter Dempsey. He's trying to force his way up the inside, and Dempsey has to secede the position. I wonder, has he lifted off there as they come down the straight? And he has, I think. And Diamantis trying to take advantage as they come to the bus stop. That might have been the right decision from Peter Dempsey right there. Oscar Mangan is now released, and Peter Dempsey might now try and follow him here. Diamantis also trying to get his second podium in the championship, and Mangan has now got a challenge. He's got 6 laps to try and catch up to Jordan Kelly, which is going to be a hard ask. But Mangan, we know how fast he is. He's a champion. But now Diamantis fighting away with Peter Dempsey. You can see the tow Peter Dempsey will have as they go 3 abreast across the line. You'll see the lap time difference now, 1:43.3, actually slower from Mangan that time as he was battling away. Diamantis had the fastest lap in the draft, 1:42.884. And that's how much the draft will help you with the lap times. But now Mangan has got to get his head down and see what he can do, if he can make any dent in the gap up to Jordan Kelly, because Jordan has actually led every single lap of this race, and if Mangan and Dempsey work together, then it could come down to the wire. It
could do, yeah. I think it is going to need to be a mistake though from the VRA racing driver. 43.3 on that last lap. Mangan's fast lap is 42.0, but I think that was with quite a hefty draft, and as you were saying before, he lost a little bit of time on that last lap. I feel like Dempsey's going to try to come back though at Mangan whenever he gets an opportunity. He's really snapping at the heels at the moment, and is trying to find the inside of Mangan whenever he can, and that's really going to hold them up, as we've already seen before. And this might be a good demonstration of it, as he gets the gap down to 1/10 of a second. He's going to have the opportunity to overtake, and well, Mangan doesn't want him to overtake. And to be fair to Dempsey, that he did actually back out of that one, so he did stay behind. So if he does it again across the start-finish line behind them, Moore and Faulkner going at battle still. It was for second and third that battle earlier on. It's down to 5th and 6th. Now we've also got Meredith, Rabbit and Tusawa as well, further down as well in 9th and 10th places. But I think we'll see how to head back to the front, to be honest, because so much action going on. Still Mangan remaining in second place, and well, maybe Dempsey is willing to stay behind, and Diamantis seems to be in on the game as well, so they are working together now to try to catch up to the lead. The problem is, at last lap, they only gained by 1/10 of a second. They need more like 7/10 of a second at this point.
Yeah, exactly, and that was in clean air as Diamantis trying to find some space there on Peter Dempsey. So you can see Jordan Kelly, it's not just luck that he's out there, he's matching the pace of these guys. He's lapping only within 1/10 of a second. Mangan slightly quicker, but not that. But of course, Jordan is doing exactly enough to stay where he is. You can see now, poor exit from Dempsey there has given Mangan some breathing space, nearly 6/10 of a second. And Arias Diamantis is driving a blinding race, I must say, to keep with these guys. And you can see how much the slipstream is also helping him keep him in there, of course, as he fights away with Peter Dempsey and Oscar Mangan. And the gap between the leaders is about 2.7, going in between 2.7 and 3 seconds. There's not a lot of time there. It's 2.7, and it's not really changing. There is Jordan Kelly in the VRA racing car, and there'll be plenty of support for Jordan as he leads out front in this Indy Pro 2000 Cup, supported by Next Level Racing and Driver 61 through the bus stop chicane. A couple more laps left, of course, so he can't take his eye off the ball, and he can't be making mistakes, but he's been incredibly consistent so far. But he's got to fend off the chase from Oscar Mangan as the gap comes down to 2.4 seconds. So is Oscar now starting to open it up a little bit?
Sector 1, 3/100ths of a second, actually faster for Kelly. Sector 2, about a tenth faster for Mangan. Sector 3, a tenth slower for Mangan. And Sector 4, about matching one another. So this is going to be quite an even lap, I think, as we approach the Sector 5. I think maybe this has been a good Sector 5 for Mangan, to be fair. Yeah, he gains 0.2 of a second through Sector 5. Why there's 5 sectors, I don't know. But he gets the gap down to 2.4 across the line, 0.2 of a second faster. But that last lap from Kelly, only 0.25 of a second slower than his best lap of the race. So he's still producing his absolute best. And there is Mangan having to go defensive against Dempsey. And that 0.2 of a second he gained is probably gone now as he runs very wide as well. The struggles on traction. And yeah, certainly the chase seems to be too big an ask unless there is a mistake from the race leader at the moment. Yamantis, wonder what his plan is right now behind these two. Very patient seemingly, not wanting to overtake Dempsey so far. Maybe just lining up for a last lap move, I imagine.
Yeah, it looks like it. So Yamantis just going to keep where he is, and Mangan is going to be, I think, really frustrated with Peter Dempsey because he's just right there, and any time he tries to build a gap, the tow brings him right back in as Dempsey moves to the outside line, gets a nose in front as they head down towards the bus stop chicane, and Mangan just lets him through right there, not fighting at all into the bus stop chicane. They go for the 12th time, and the lead slightly lower now, 2.3 seconds as they come through right there, and of course the tow will have helped right there, but it's going to be kind of seesawing back, and these guys I don't think have enough to catch up to Jordan Kelly's. They're now going to swap positions again, and Peter Dempsey not fighting really. They're not really not going to try and hinder each other too much. They're just letting each other pass whenever they have the tow, and Mangan slots back in now with 3 laps to go. Let's have a look at the lap times. 42.9 for the 43.1 for the leader, 42.8 for Peter Dempsey, that time at 42.8. For Arias Yamantis, the gap down to 2.2, but it's just not really enough. They need to be catching quicker, but they're certainly making gaps in the time, but it's not enough dense. They need to be really making a couple of half a second. Ideally need to be catching a second a lap, but at the moment it's not doing enough because Jordan Kelly has driven a sublime race so far.
It's starting to go into some road cycling tactics, and personally I don't really know a whole lot about. Oh no, well, it's not road cycling. I mean the velodrome, which is absolutely awesome for the Olympics. But yeah, so changing positions kind of every kind of oval corner, every straight, they seem to be switching positions and letting the driver behind move ahead with the momentum, which can work all right. It does disrupt your rhythm. It has actually allowed them to gain a couple of tenths of a second. Problem is they've only learnt that on lap 12 of race 2, so it's a little bit too late for that really to work. I wonder if they're going to do that again with Dempsey. Well, at least Dempsey wanted to do that. Yeah, I think Dempsey wanted to do that. I'm not sure if Mangan wanted to do that, to be honest, and that could yeah, bring them a little bit closer. Gap down to 2 seconds now, but it's not going to be enough. Behind them, Moore staying ahead of Faulkner. He's actually been able to break the draft. Faulkner, Murray in 7th place. They're going to finish similar to where he did in race 1, as this is the other closest battle out there, with Meredith just losing out to Shane Rabbit right there, with Duswa as well in 11th place. Dara Daly, by the way, also tying back to the pit, hence why you're just saying at the top of the timing tower. 3 wise here. That's going to get a little bit cramped up top for Duswa, and he does get ahead of it.
Yeah, go on, Lawrence, fighting away with Shane Rabbit and Nicky Meredith, 2 very experienced racers. See if he can outbreak them on the outside line. Gonna have to back out, I think. Shane Rabbit versus Nicky Meredith into turn 1. Shane Rabbit comes out ahead. Once again, on that lap, another 0.2 of a second taken out of the leader that time, but they were all lapping in a 42.9, 'ine, almost within the same 100th on that lap for Mangan, Dempsey and Yamantis. back with those guys. The gap's down to 1.7 seconds. They've learned the trick too late. If they'd done this earlier on, then they could have well caught Jordan Kelly, but Jordan is holding on for now, and he just needs to make no mistakes because the gap's down to about 1.5. What he can't afford is to get Mangan close enough, under a second, that he gets in the toe. You can see that how much time he's been taking out each lap. 1/10 of a second, then up to 2/10 of a second on the past 2 laps. But we're going to cross the line for the white flag. Can Jordan Kelly hold on to take his first ever race win in the championship? Oscar Mangan's taken plenty of them, but he's chasing down. Peter Dempsey's also won in the championship before. Aries Yamantas has not. He's taken a podium, one solitary podium in his time in digital motorsports, but he's on the cusp of taking another one as they will come through the last corner on the oval to wave the white flag for Jordan Kelly in the VRA racing car. Can he hold on now? Back to the lead, back to these guys again. Dempsey's going to slot in front of Mangan, and Mangan is not going to really fight him. He's going to slot ahead of Yamantas. Is this now his time of attack on the outside line? Look at the difference in lap time. 1:42.4 for Peter Dempsey on that lap with the toe, and the gap's now 1.2 seconds. If there was an extra lap, I think they could have caught him, but Jordan Kelly right now is now just got to focus his head. He's got to keep his eyes firmly in front of him and do not make any mistakes. There's going to be plenty of people rooting for Jordan, and we'll see if he can hold on to take that coveted first race win in a stacked field of drivers. 1.2 seconds now, 1.1 in the braking zone as they come through. You can see in the background Peter Dempsey and Oscar Mangan. Now the fight is now heating up, but I think Jordan Kelly has done enough to hold in front. This is the battle we need to focus our eyes on as they come onto the oval for the final time. Dempsey ahead of Mangan, and Yamantas now is going to try and secure that podium that he so desperately wants, a second one to add to his list. But out in front as they come to the bus stop now, up to the outside line. Dempsey is just going to leave the door open for Oscar Mangan, and he goes straight through. Yamantas is going to try and get through as well. So Dempsey is backing off, I think, to try and get a run at Oscar Mangan to the line as they come to the bus stop chicane for the last time. No mistakes from our leader. Here he comes. Plenty of support. He's a digital motorsports veteran, but he's got one more corner to negotiate. A long time coming, almost a year in the making for Jordan Kelly as he comes round the last corner on the oval, keeping it all neat and tidy as they round in the VRA racing car for the very first time. Coming to the line now in the back, and we keep an eye on the battle for the podium, but crossing the line as he comes to the line. Jordan Kelly, for the very first time, wins the opening round in Daytona. In the background, Mangan holds on for second, and Dempsey gets third ahead of Arias Yamantas. But Jordan Kelly has finally won in digital motorsports, and across the line, very close. Richard Faulkner by 100th of a second versus Rob Moore gets in 5th place. And in the back, and now a 3-way fight for this position. This is going to be for 8th place. Shane Rabbit is going to get ahead just 0.02 across the line. And great racing. Shane Rabbit ahead of Meredith, and Lawrence de Salzburg gets a top 10 finish as well. Keith Dempsey has driven a great race. He's got back to 12th after the damaged suspension. But Jordan Kelly, this has been a long time coming for him, and he's going to be absolutely delighted. It's the first win for VRA Racing as well, and ahead of a special feat of drivers of Oscar Mangan, Peter Dempsey, and all of those guys. I mean, that's a special win for him.
I was surprised when you said that Kelly hasn't won a race in this series, because he's been so accomplished in the race that I've commentated on, in the TCR car and in the Porsche GT4 as well. He's been one of the most competitive drivers out there. So yeah, absolutely, as you were saying, a long time coming. And I mean, against Mangan, he was 0.2 of a second slower than Mangan, wasn't he? If you're within 0.2 of a second of Oscar Mangan and Peter Dempsey, that is really impressive. So it was certainly warranted, and certainly can deem Kelly as a championship contender for this season, and that's just the start that he needed as well. Highest point scorer coming out of this round, I imagine, will be Peter Dempsey. I'm not 100% sure about that one, but I think Dempsey and Mangan should be out on top despite not winning a race. So a couple of podiums for those guys. Very good start for their season.
Exactly, yeah. So we've got about 7 minutes left of our broadcast, and thankfully we have got Jordan Kelly standing by. We'll get him in a second, but there is the official results. Jordan Kelly wins from Oscar Mangan in 2nd place. Peter Dempsey is in 3rd. Aries Yamantas has a really impressive drive from him in 4th place. Rob Moore 5th ahead. That was a very close finish between those guys. A couple of thousands crossed the line. Richard Faulkner in 6th. Niall Murray, Shane Rabbit, and Nicky Meredith. That was about 9,000 across the line between Shane Rabbit and Nicky Meredith. Lawrence de Soswa gets a top 10 finish. He'll be delighted with that. Then Tony Stack, Keith Dempsey recovers from the crash earlier on with Oscar Mangan, which may be investigated. Rob Barrable, Barry Rabbit, James Holman, Brian McManus, Jason Cooper, and Keith Rabbit in 18th spot. And we will then go further down the order as well as Cian Carey, Marchenkovic, Wayne Douglas, Peter McCann, Michael Devaney, Dara Daly, Owen Murray, Dave McGuire, Craig Breen, Oisin Walsh, who didn't make the, well, unfortunately was taken out in the opening lap for him. And we will then have a word, I think, with our race winner, Jordan Kelly. I mean, that win has been a long time coming, and the opening round goes to you. You must be really delighted with that one.
Oh, I'm over the moon. Oh, I've been waiting on that a long time.
Yeah, so obviously it seemed that the slipstream was incredibly effective around here. So obviously the key for you was making sure that you managed to break away from Valentinus and all the guys behind to make sure you held on to the lead.
Yeah, at the start, I just try to pump on quali laps after quali laps to just get that 1 second gap to get out of the tow. But once I got out of that, I was happy enough until I seen Oscar and Peter behind. Then,
talk us through that last lap, because you must have seen the gap coming down and seeing names like Mangan and Dempsey chasing you down. It must be stressful.
Yeah, I was just trying to keep the car in a straight line. Just had to sacrifice a wee bit of time just to make sure I didn't spin. But once I got round onto the banking, I seen Peter backed off. He must have got a slowdown or something. So I kind of just made sure to get the bus stop right. And that was it.
Yeah, great stuff. For the first win for VR Racing in the championship as well. So a long time coming, Jordan. Before you go, is there anyone you'd like to give us a quick thanks to?
Shout out to the VRA lads for helping us all get up to speed with Brian and Ronan and Peter and Evan, David and Adam. And also shout out to Digital Motorsport and Niall Rob for the work that they do to get the championship as to the level that they have got it to.
Well, thanks a million, Jordan. Congratulations on the win. I know the guys are really delighted for you. Thanks a million for chatting to us.
Thanks, Jack. I'll chat to you later.
So now we will have a quick chat with Rory O'Shea. I'll hand that off to Sam, because I think we were just chatting about the Pro-Am class, and I think Rory was involved in that one.
Yeah, Roy. What can you say about the Pro-Am class? What happened down there?
Well, basically, me and Ron Hardiman had a fairly good battle, I'd say, up until about lap 4. But then he kind of outbraked himself down the bus stop, and then I think I was just I was had to pull away then, keep ahead of him and Sergio for most of it.
How have you found this new car to drive? Are you used to single seaters, and how different is it to anything else that you've driven?
I definitely prefer these sort of cars. Like, you know, I grew up playing the Formula 1 games a lot as a young lad, so I'm definitely like these kind of downforce cars.
And on Saturday we head to a proper oval. Today felt like an oval, but on Saturday we're going to a proper oval. How have you got much experience in that, and how do you reckon it's gonna turn out?
I do have quite a bit of experience. Like, I have my A license on the oval racing and iRacing, so I'm feeling pretty prepared. Like, I have good confidence in all the other drivers that will be clean enough. Like, the course will be accidents, but I think I have faith in the other lads that it should be really good.
Well, congratulations on your second split result today, Roy. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
I don't think so. I can't think of anyone at the moment. I'd say I'll think of something now after, but not at the moment.
Well, hopefully we'll have a chat with you once again on Saturday. Congratulations, Roy. See you next time.
Cheers, Sam.
Well, now, of course, with the final interview, we will have a chat with Oscar Mangan. Oscar, I mean, that must have been one of the most intense fights you've been in. The slipstream was, I think, almost a pain in your backside the whole way through that race.
Yeah, I think it's sort of impossible to get away here no matter what you do, even if you're maybe 7 or 8 tenths faster in the infield as soon as you get back onto the bank, and they just drive straight up to you and you're kind of a sitting duck. I think myself and Peter and Arias tried to catch Jordan there, but I think he was just had a bit too much of a gap, and then we were fighting ourselves, so we couldn't really catch him.
Yeah, talks through. There's a bit of contact between yourself and Keith Dempsey. What happened into the bus stop there?
Yeah, I was following him, had a bit of a slipstream, and I showed the nose, and there was net code. I think there was about 2 foot of kind of space between the two cars, and the server, whatever, just decided to spin him off. So shame about that. Definitely wanted to have a good scrap with him. So guess just now Phoenix, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so the Phoenix course, full oval race, and how are you feeling going into Phoenix? It's a tricky little circuit.
I have not done a single lap yet. I haven't driven this car in an oval, so it'll be sort of a last-minute effort to get up to speed there and see how the car feels and what the racing is like. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Great stuff. Well done on your results today, Oscar, and hopefully we'll be chatting to you again on Saturday.
Cheers.
So we're going to have one more interview then with Naveed Hussain. Congratulations, Naveed, on your Pro-Am splits results. We had a chat with Rory, and it sounded like a pretty good battle between you two.
Yeah, it was Rory was great in the second race. He came right up to the field, and he had a great gap at the end. So he had a great race there. Very difficult in the second race when you start from behind, but no, it was good, very good, a lot of fun.
How did you find the competitiveness of that second split? I mean, 30 odd drivers, I believe, in the Pro-Am split. Must have been pretty fun to race against all those drivers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you look at the pro guys, they're some of the best, drivers Ireland has to offer in other countries. But the Pro-Am, they're probably some of the best sim racers the country has to offer. So no, it was great. Stern competition. So that's what you want, really.
I assume you're going for the championship this season with such close racing amongst drivers. Does that enter your mind at this point in the championship? You don't want a bad result, or are you just all out for the race win today?
Honestly, I just want to have fun. I love driving, whether it be real or sim. So, winning or coming, 5th or 6th, it doesn't matter. It's a lot of fun for me,
Definitely. Well, congratulations, Naveed. Is there anyone you'd like to give thanks to?
Yeah, thanks to my missus for letting me do it, I suppose. And thanks to Niall Marr and Rob King over at Digital Motorsports. Thanks to those guys. They set me up with my rig, so they're great guys as well. Thanks to those.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, and best of luck on Saturday.
Thanks very much.
Well, that will, of course, wrap up all the interviews that we have today. So it's been a fantastic opening round in these Indy Pro 2000 cars. And 2 different winners in both races. Wayne Douglas getting his first win, and Jordan Kelly finally grabbing that elusive win. And it's been fantastic. So we'll be back, of course, on Saturday for the special event on the 4th of July. We're heading to Phoenix for the oval race round, and if anything, we saw a glimpse of what the oval racing is like with the slipstream down towards the bus stop chicane and turn number 1 here as well. But we're heading to Phoenix, and we're interested to see how the guys get on there. So thank you all for watching. Thanks to Sam Fitzpatrick, as always, for joining me in the commentary box. Thanks to Sam Lee for working hard on the cameras. Plenty to keep an eye on today. And this has been the digitalmotorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup, sponsored kindly by Next Level Racing and supported by Driver 61. We'll be back on Saturday at the same time for the round number 2 of the Indy Pro 2000 Cup, from the first oval event ever that we've held in Digital Motorsports history. So we'll be interested to see who's going to come out on top there. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you then. Thank you, and good night.